Hello everyone and welcome back. It's been a while since I've been on YouTube. It's been far too long really. And lots of things have been happening and it's been difficult to get out. The weather's been terrible, but Tanya's been busy as well. Which is why I'm here on my own today, which is a bit of a shock to the system. It's great having Tanya with me, and it's so much easier on the videography front as well. Oh, it's cold, really cold. I'm having to do all of the work and all the videos now on my own, so it's going to be interesting to see how I compare to Tanya. I don't think I'm going to compare as well, but we'll see how it goes. Here we go. Right, I've finally set that camera up. It's something very different for me. So it's a camera on the window. It's really cold and I forgot my gloves. I've been on the road for a couple of days now and the weather's been inclement. It hasn't been very good at all. It's been very overcast and dull, intermingled with rain and heavy wind. But that's the west of Scotland for you. It's always unreliable in weather, but you have to get out because it's such a beautiful place. I'm in Wester Ross near a place called Laide. It's a beautiful place. I've been here before and I've wanted to come back for quite a while now. I'm inspired to come here by a chap called Cerulean, and he did some paintings around here which I was really impressed with, and very inspirational work. So I'm here in his footsteps really, and I think it's really good to have a sort of mentor in art, just to give you that inspiration to get out. And Cerulean's watercolours of the area were fantastic, and I'm looking forward really to try and find some of the places that he painted, almost like a nostalgic way, like, oh, it's here, which is really fun. And I enjoy that part of it, of travelling to places to see whether I can find the spots where my artistic heroes put their easel. So as you can see, the sun is out and it's such a relief. I was really a bit concerned that I'd made this long journey by myself and the weather's going to be bad, but it's really nice now. I was really concerned more than anything else because my hands, in Edinburgh the weather was so great that I thought it was going to be as nice here, but it's really much colder, and I thought my hands were going to be freezing. So that's an incredible relief, that because holding the metal palette, it really conducts the cold and it gets really cold. So you can see that it's a wonderful place, and the coastline here is magnificent. It's not very well travelled here, and it's not as popular a place as many of the other places in Scotland on the west coast, but I think it's one of the nicest of the places, and the view left is so great as well. That's one of my favourite views, and I've done a painting of that in the past, and what a view. The houses are the thing that make it. So I feel inspired and ready to go. Literally a moment ago we were bathed in this beautiful sunshine, and now it's this. The wind is quite strong and it's blowing lots of cloud and weather systems to us. One of the slightly frustrating things about painting is that you have to be here for a certain length of time, and it's great to have sort of consistent lighting. I like to have the lighting a little bit brighter than this. I like the sun to come in to give the picture a little bit of a sparkle, and I think that sparkle is what gives the watercolour a little bit of light and excitement. Right, so here we go. I'm all set up. It took quite a long while because it's a brand new setup. Because Tanya's not here, I'm having to sort out a new way of going about it. So trying to get a nice angle on the picture. I'm going to paint the picture that I showed you earlier, right next to the van, and it's a really interesting scene. And I'm going to paint it quite small. This is a 7x5 piece of paper, and it's really to get into it more than anything else, which I think is important to do. So a quick sketch. So starting with a very brief pencil drawing, just to roughly indicate where things are. Not going to be too careful with it. One of my things that I like really is not being too careful, because when you're too careful it sort of prevents you from really making decisions. I think it does anyway. So there's the basic landscape coming in, and then the mountains behind. I remember reading about Van Gogh, and he thought that the drawing was of little importance. Well, not little importance, but overstressed. And then the big mountain behind. So that's all I need to do. And you see, that was about a minute, something like that. Right, now I'm going to get my paints out. I managed to find a glove. There's a mechanic's glove. So it was lying in the van, so I'm quite pleased I've got that. So let's get going. I'm going to start a simple wash. One of the difficult parts about painting is to work out where you're going to start. And let's just work out the camera again. Have a little contemplate. I tend to work from top to bottom because the water runs downhill, and I've got the paper angled at about a 30-degree angle so that it does run down. So, okay, here goes. Right, so so we've got the sky, so a little bit of ultramarine blue and brown. It's a muggy day. It's muggy, well, cloudy sort of day. I'm right next to the road. Got a little lay-by here where I stayed the night. So let's give it a go. I want it to be a brief painting. I don't want it to be a complicated picture. I want to have the feeling that it's swiftly done. Just laying in the washes. So it's a value study. So looking into the distant mountains there, and they've really turned quite blue because of the distance and aerial perspective. So and they're quite dark as well. Say, laying from top to bottom. I tend to try and cover everything. Now we have the green of the hills, so a little bit of yellow ochre. And blue ultramarine. Just try and capture that green coming in. And it goes down into the water. We've got the road there, which I might paint over. And the grass changes colour towards the bottom, much lighter green. The green in the distance. And we've got a bit of water. So a cobalt blue, I think, and a bit of green, a bit of Veridian. The light is really reflecting onto the water. It's a very interesting greeny blue colour. It's really coming in the right frothy areas. Trying to get that froth, having the white paper come through just to give it the impression of the froth, which is nice. Okay, now we're going to put a little bit more of the beach, grassy areas. It's a little bit too yellow. And here's a bit of beach. So quite a nice start to it. Okay, so now the darker bits. So the rocks. Keep wiping that up. The watercolour is a fluid medium, and if you make a mistake, which I did then, don't panic. It'll be all right in the end. A little bit of ultramarine blue in that brown mix. Have to get used to this filming by myself, so excuse me if I'm not quite as fluent in my speaking. I've got a few things to think about. Right, just these. It's a picture of grey, really. It's a grey scene. These very blue mountains in the far distance, which I'm going to indicate with a bit of cobalt blue. So just a little bit lighter. So I'll go over that again. Just soften that edge, because there's cloud coming over it. So it's good to get the edges a bit soft. It's one of the nice things about Scotland. You do have these sort of mountainy clouds draping over like a tablecloth. Greener shades now to the hills here. And some green in here too, where the mountains are a bit lower, closer to the sea. Okay, so now for the rocks, which I'm going to get in burnt umber and ultramarine blue, because they're quite dark. And don't mix them completely. Lots of rocks going into the sea. Things aren't quite drying in as much as I'd like them to, but that's watercolour painting. You have to just go with the flow. There's lots of rocks in the near distance as well. Ideally, I like to let this dry a little bit longer. Trying to give the mountains a little bit more shape. We've had about 3 changes of light at the moment, so I'm struggling with the camera and doing this. Again, it's the first time, so hopefully I'll get better and figure out a way around the exposure of the camera. There's some rocks going into the water here as well, which are pretty. Soften the edge a bit. Just dip into the water to soften. Soft edges, hard edges, all sorts of edges. So get some darker. And when watercolours dry, they tend to dry a little bit lighter than they should, than they are on the paper when you put them down wet. Now, just to get ultramarine blue and burnt umber, the distant mountains, I think I'll need to get them a little bit more firm here. Mountains in the distance. So the blue is a little bit darker as well. It's a really grey blue. A bit of green in there too, perhaps. So it's cerulean blue, perhaps. Some waves coming in, trying to leave bits of paper as well, to get the impression that it's waves coming in. Okay, in the middle distance here now, so a little bit of burnt sienna. Some different greens. I love the variety of watercolour and the really interesting effects that you can get. Right, now for some really dark bits. I'll change my brush, just go for a smaller brush. Just to fill it little bits. Right, I am going to go for my favourite colours, ultramarine blue and burnt umber. It's great to be out. Great to be out painting again in the landscape. I love that part of watercolour, and that's where it's so exciting, really, that you can like have a studio outdoors. So, just the two colours, the burnt umber and ultramarine blue. I find those colours super useful. The land jutting into the sea. Lots of these little rocks, tiny rocks around. It's gone really dull now. I haven't been painting that much in watercolour recently. I've been doing more oil painting work, and it's not the same as watercolour. I do enjoy watercolour, possibly a little bit more, but other things take priority at times. Okay, trying to. Let's hope it doesn't start to rain. I feel a dampness coming in. Some big rocks here. I definitely feel a few splashes of rain. That was nice. I like to see the way the blue and the brown mixed on the paper. Some big rocks here at the front. That is rain coming in now. I have to stop. Right, I had a little break. I had to run inside because it started to rain in it, and you can see the little patches of water. They were tiny drops, but they really did seep in. So yeah, that's an interesting part of it. Now, where to carry on? I won't do too much more to this because I don't want to lose the freshness that it has. Watercolour is a medium where you want to really, less is more at times. So I'm just going to indicate a few more rocks. Down here. Not much more with this. It's sort of coming in, trying to hide some of those watermarks, but it's created an interesting effect. Back to the slightly bigger brush. This one here. It's quite an interesting brush. I don't know who makes it. It's unbranded. I like it. I'm going to get back into the hills in the distance. Just trying to try and give them a little bit more shape now, to try and cover the watermarks. I think that's working. One of the trials and tribulations of working outdoors are weather, always weather. Trying to wreck things for you. Maybe I'll get the delineation of this hill in the background a bit more. There. Yeah, that works. Not much more to do on this one. So what I'm going to do, I've squeezed out a little bit of white paint there. That's this one here. And I'm going to use that to paint the little houses. I quite like white paint for that. It's a great thing at times. I really like it. Not quite dry there. Had to be. Another house here. That didn't work at all. Nothing's drying at the moment. Maybe I'll get the road in instead. Some of the waves. Waves are amazing here today. It's just a wonderful place. Get the waves lapping onto the rocks. Just a few touches here and there. It's amazing how such small marks can make such a big difference. The background. Get it a bit thicker. Okay. I think that's dry. Nothing's drying today. Dare I do that house? Let's see. No, it's still not okay yet. Well, I'll have to add them a bit later. That's it largely done for me. I think it's quite pretty, and that, I like that. I like the way the paint's gone down. Very simply. I had a comment the other day about one of the wonders of watercolour is that you don't have to paint it detailed. When you paint in a detailed way, it creates a rod for your back, and if you do this bit detailed, then you've got to do that bit detailed, and then that bit detailed, and it never ends. So a fresh, loose approach is my preferred way. As you can see, the watermarks, these washes here, they sort of cured that problem. Bits and pieces there, but that's fine. I don't mind that. Maybe I'll put a couple of marks in the. Just going to use my two favourite colours in burnt umber and ultramarine blue, just to give a little bit more shape to these rocks. Soften that one down. I'd love to be able to put a little white house right there, but I think it's a little bit too wet. Yeah, it's too wet at the moment. Just wait a bit. I've waited a little bit, and hopefully it's dry now. So I'm going to place that little house in here. So I'm going to grab some of that white paint. Just don't want it too thin. And there's a house right there. here. Put the road in a bit more. And there's a house right there. What I might do is just give it a little bit of contrast, just a bit of dark colour, just to give it a little bit of shape. I think I'll pronounce that done. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with it. We had a slight problem with the rain. You can see it's a little bit marks there still from the rain, but okay, I don't mind that too much. And I think it's turned out quite nicely in the end. So that's my first painting of the trip all done, and I'm quite pleased with it. We did have a little bit of trouble with the rain, and that has created unusual effects in it, but I'm still happy with it. It didn't put me off too much. The size of the painting is 8 by 6 inches, and it's on my normal Fabriano Artistico paper, which I do like. I think it has a lovely feel about it, and I'm happy it's done. It's always difficult to get the first painting done, and the filming of it myself makes a lot more complication in the process, having to look after the camera, set everything up, and do the painting at the same time. So I'm really hoping that turns out okay. Many thanks to Tanya for editing this. It's really good of her to do it. She's so much better than me at editing videos, and it's great to have her help in this. I'm also running a watercolour painting course from the 14th of September to the 20th of September. It's run by the Edinburgh Drawing School, and it's at Achoncairn House in Dumfries and Galloway, a beautiful place right next to the coast. If you're interested in coming along, there's a link in the description. Thanks for watching. It's great to be back on YouTube again after such a long break, and I really appreciate all the messages that I've had over the last 6 months, even though I haven't really been posting. But now's the time to get back into it, and I look forward to lots and lots of videos to come in our usual weekly way. Thanks again. Bye-bye.